Verse 22, a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. Now, I've already touched on this concept earlier on in this video. Brother, you have to make sure that you have steady income coming in. That's why I stated when you ask about having a woman or having a wife or having an Eve to your Adam. Hopefully you have all of your other situations in alignment, in proper alignment, so that you actually can be a benefit to a woman. Because a lot of these women are all fucked up. Don't get it twisted. You be seeing them, like, for example, here in New York City, you might be riding the iron horse, aka the train. You see a chick, she might seem to have all of her stuff together, makeup, hair, and all this other. You get to know, man, she's batshit crazy, all fucked up, on antidepressants, weed head, alcoholic, baby daddy drama, ex-boyfriend drama. You understand? You ever have one of them broads, they just tell you, oh, I know I'm a mess. You know a broad crazy. You know she's finished, but she admits she a mess. So that's why you gotta have your shit together. Because if you don't, and you end up being that guy who just want to sit on her couch and just, your payment for her allowing you to live at her place and sit on her couch all day is just some dick, she gonna treat you just like some in-house dick. Okay, dick, why don't you go take your ass and go to the grocery store and buy me some paper towels or something. Make yourself useful. Right? That's impudence. Like a total disregard, disrespect for you. And that's how a lot of these domestic violence situations happen. These guys who don't have shit, they trap in the house with the woman. She talking to him like a dog or like a child, and he flip out. But you place yourself in that situation, in that condition, in that scenario. Right? I promise you, the woman is not going to be the same person 3 months from now that she was when you first met her. I promise you that. None of them are. Not one of them. So you better be prepared for the worst version of her. And the only way that you can be prepared for that is if you have your own shit. I'm going to read it again. It says, a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. She's going to walk around just bad-mouthing you. Her mother going to ask, hey, how's Tony doing? Fuck Tony. Fuck that nigga. I hope he's driving over here now. I hope the car crash. Hope he hit a goddamn tree. That's how they going to be talking about you, man, because you ain't got no damn job or career or income coming in. It says that much reproach at the end. Any question you ask her, she going to snap. Any question you ask her, you be like, babe, what time dinner going to be ready? I don't know, around the same time your broke ass get a job. Verse 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. In other words, when you're with the wrong type of woman, she's going to emasculate you. Right? She abateth the courage, man. She takes away your manliness, your verve. Right? Your bravery. She's always going to be trying to cut you down in some way, to shit on you in some way. You have a lot of very quote-unquote toxic women today who try to utilize those tactics on men. One of the main tactics that the modern-day wicked woman uses, or the quote-unquote liberal woman uses, is to brag about her education. She leads with that because that's her way of trying to inform you that she's more intelligent than you. They associate education with intelligence. Right? They conflate the two things. They think that those two things are the same. And they're not. Education is basically how you've been indoctrinated, how you've been trained to think. Intelligence is based on your natural perceptual abilities. Your innate level of discernment to figure things out. That's what intelligence is. Those are two totally different things. Education and intelligence. Let me read it again. It says, a wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance. In other words, nigga just always walking around sad because of his woman. Or angry. I mentioned this in another video a long time ago. A lot of these so-called black-on-black crime situations that happen between so-called black men is because of their relationship problems. They mad at their baby mother. They mad at their girl. Their girl left them. All this other shit. Their wife is cheating on them. They walk outside, go to the bar. First person looking around, they're shooting them. says, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. Right? Even back then, one of the terms for people who were depressed due to their relationship was called a broken heart or a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So in other words, what if you came home from work and you had to tell your woman that you got fired or laid off? Would she be comfort to you, or would she deride you? Oh, you bum ass, you lost this job. You know we needed this money. What are you going to do now? Right? It's not what are we going to do, or this is what we're going to do, or maybe we'll talk about it and this is what we're going to do. Is what are you going to do now? All I know is this rent better get paid some type of way, or I'm out. F y'all niggas. You a no good nigga, just like my daddy. I'm just trying to lay out different situations for you, brother, because you said you wanted to Eve, man. These are some of the things that come with some of these women, man. All right? The Bible lays it out for you. It says, a woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Right? A lot of these guys are broken over a woman. I say this all the time. I'll never forget. There used to be a dude, not going to name his name, that I knew back in the day. He was in the knowledge, and that man ended up eating out of garbage cans talking to himself after his relationship didn't work out. And I'm not exaggerating. Verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Who's that talking about? It's talking about Eve. You know how you have these people, they're always trying to prove that Matthew, the 19th chapter, is proof that you can only have one woman. They said, see, Christ was saying it's going to go back to Adam and Eve. What you mean it's going to go back to Adam and Eve? You mean a toxic fucking relationship? That's what you're talking about? See, you're not supposed to have more than one woman, because when Solomon had more than one woman, he went off. Yeah, Adam had one woman, he went off too. So here's what that's proof of. All you women are crazy. Whether it's just one or 1,000. Ain't that a bitch? But in all seriousness, you do have to be very cognizant of the fact, especially if you're a brother that's interested in the scriptures. The vast majority of women are not interested in the Bible. They're interested in how the Bible can make them feel. Okay? Those are two separate things. The Bible, for the most part, is used as a tool for conditioning and also for psychotherapy. It's used to make you feel better. People go to church to feel good, not to learn. So that's why the vast majority of these liberal women, what do? They go to church every Sunday after they spent 5 days during the week working and plotting on who they're going to fuck next. And then Friday night, they go to happy hour, probably suck a random rod in the bathroom at the bar. And then Saturday, they go to the club. And then Sunday, they go to church. They just be jumping up and down, clapping, because they think that's going to offset all the shit they did the week before. That's what they think. That's why we read the scripture that says what? There's no wickedness like the wickedness of a woman. I'm not saying that. The scripture says that. Right? But at the end of the day, the onus is always on the man. Once you know better, you do better. Adam is an end sample, not of a victim, but of a fool. You understand? Adam was a fool. He was an earthly man. That's why he was confounded by the woman. Woefully confounded by the woman, by the way. But that's a whole other issue for another day. Verse 25 says, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. What's that speaking about? When it says to gad, meaning to troop or go wherever she feels like going. Right? That's why I previously mentioned or used that scenario of the woman who comes to you and says, hey, babe, me and my friends, we're flying to the Bahamas or to Jamaica for a week. And she just tells you what she's going to do. She doesn't ask you your permission. That's how you know that she's up to no good. You understand? And even if she asks you, she could be up to no good. Even if she asks you to come, she could be up to no good. And then it could just be her trying to throw you off. And if you decide to come, then she has to think up another plan, because she'll be stuck with you for a week. But A real woman makes plans with you. She doesn't make plans and then try to include you. That's what a real wife does. As a matter of fact, a real woman comes to her husband and asks her husband if he wants to go somewhere. And whether he does or he doesn't, she's good with that. But, a lot of guys, they don't learn that shit because they're raised in a house with these women. And they're made to think that the woman should be calling shots. And the reason why the woman believes that it's okay for her to call shots is because in corporate America, they're giving the black woman jobs over the black man. You work in corporate America, 9 times out of 10, your supervisor, quote unquote supervisor, is going to be a so-called black or Hispanic woman. If it's a department that has mostly blacks or Hispanics in it, they prefer to have a black or Hispanic woman acting as the supervisor or the manager or what have you over a department that's comprised mostly of blacks and Hispanics. That's just how it is, because they know that has a trickle-down effect into the home, into the quote-unquote community, where it reinforces into the mind of the man that it's okay to have a woman telling me what to do. Right? But just getting back to the point. It says, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. Why does it say give the water no passage? Because what does water do? It flows. Right? Water basically goes wherever it wants based on how gravity moves it. That's how the woman is. She just wanders about. You ever see some of these broads when they're hanging out, like on a Saturday night or some shit? It'd just be like a little clique of girls, like a little gaggle of chicks. They be coming out the bar stumbling and shit, falling over their heels. They don't know where they're going next. It's like water flowing, through crevices and shit. A woman's not supposed to be doing that. She's supposed to be accompanied by her man at all times. Right? That's why these broads, their new thing is what? Protect black women. Why are they saying that for? The reason why they're saying that is because most of them don't have no man. So they're getting scared. But the liberal woman, instead of humbling herself and actually figuring things out and saying, I need to be with my husband or my man, now she thinks that random men are supposed to protect her. And I'll probably be delving into that concept more later on. But brothers, you only protect property. And the wife is property. She's your property. She's prized property and a prized possession, but she's still your property. That's why you protect her, not a random woman. When it comes to a random woman, it's up to you. It's of your own volition whether or not you decide to do that. But the reason why these liberal black women is pushing that notion, under the inspiration of the Caucasian liberals who puppet them, is because, once again, they're trying to promote this belief that the modern day black woman is some type of goddess and the black man is just her security guard. You understand? Protect black women like she's fucking Michael Jackson. The fuck out of here. But just getting back to the point of the scripture, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. You're not supposed to allow your woman to go out and about wherever she wants. Notice it says wicked woman because a righteous woman's not going to be trying to go out and about, going here and going there. You just better believe if a woman approaches you and claims to want to be in a relationship with you, but then comes back and states that she likes to go to this club and that club and fly here and fly there, that's a concubine, bro. Stop holding out hope that she's going to become a wife someday. She's not. So now this is verse 26. It says, if she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. Now, what is this talking about? Because a lot of times there's some confusion here, because we know that Christ tells us, the Mashiach tells us, that the only reason to get a divorce is if your wife is an adulteress, meaning this is if she sleeps with another man. What this is talking about right here in regards to in Babylon, if a woman is not receptive to your instruction, if she doesn't find it conducive or to her benefit to listen to what you have to say, then you have to end the relationship or let her end it and go about her business. Because if not, she's just going to cause you greater and greater consternation. And what's going to happen is eventually she's going to get pregnant, and then she'll realize that she has you hook, line, and sinker. She has you by the balls, and now she no longer has to listen to you. And that normally is when relationships get ended in this society. Like, unfortunately, and that proves to you that this is Satan's world. Most relationships don't get cemented through the baby. The baby, oftentimes, initiates the eradication of the relationship, because now the woman knows that that bond that she has through the baby is always going to be there. She doesn't have to work to maintain a relationship anymore. She's always going to have that connection through the baby. So a lot of times these women, they have a baby, and literally 4 months later, they back out there on the strip. They back out there on them IG streets looking for validation from strangers. That's why social media has destroyed relationships. It's giving people too many options. And the woman will lose her mind over options. I can almost guarantee you, if a woman has more than one option, she's going to pick the wrong thing. It's just their nature. They're agents of chaos. So, Jonathan, I hope that you've listened to this video series. This is the first entry into the Responding to Your Messages series. And I hope that, my perspective will be able to help you in regards to you saying that you want to have an Eve. Once again, if you want a woman, I hope that you have all of your ducks in a row, because it will be hard enough to have a woman even if you have money. If you ain't got no money, you finish. All right? So peace. Okay, so now, brothers, now I just want to go over a storyline that I saw in the news pertaining to, the theme of this video series in response to the question asked to me by this brother Jonathan. And of course, it has to do with a celebrity, or at least the daughter of a former celebrity. Growing up here in New York, I first started watching football in 1990, at least hardcore, meaning understanding the rules, following the game, and knowing when games were coming on, so on and so forth. On the New York Jets, there was a star wide receiver by the name of Al Toon. First name A-L, last name T-O-O-N, like Looney Tune. And he was a very good possession wide receiver. He was known for being one of the first wide receivers to catch 100 passes or more in a season. I believe he caught 100 passes. If I'm wrong about that, one of you brothers can correct me, but I believe that in one of those years in the late 80s, he caught 100 passes. But he was more of just a possession wide receiver. He wasn't a game breaker, but there was a little blip in the late 80s where he was mentioned, along the lines of a Jerry Rice. A lot of publicity going on around that time to try to throw his name in there. He never was on that level, but point being, he was considered a star on the New York Jets. And of course, he ended up retiring. I think that he had concussion issues. Well, his daughter ended up being a star volleyball player for the University of Michigan. I believe it's the University of Michigan. And she ended up marrying a so-called Caucasian man. And of course, as often happens in dysfunctional relationships, I'm not saying that their relationship was dysfunctional because, she's a so-called black female and he's a so-called Caucasian male, because I believe that her mother is Caucasian. When I say their relationship was dysfunctional, what I mean is that it's relatively obvious to me that, there was something going on, some extracurricular activities going on outside of the relationship, and it led to this person, the husband of Al Toon's daughter, killing her and then killing himself. And it's very important, once again, that brothers understand that your wife, even though you love her, she's just a flesh and blood object in this society. Of course, it's flesh and blood surrounding a soul and a spirit that you love. But anything that you have in the flesh can be gone tomorrow. Okay? You can come home and see her phone on the living room table, and you see a so-called text message come through from some person's name that you don't recognize, or just a number, and the text message says, "Hey, sexy, heart, heart." Right? What are you going to do? Please keep in mind, the woman in this society is not yours. I don't care if you sign a contract with her. She's still not yours. The contract exists because the concept of husband in this society is just a contract position. It can come to an end at any moment. So So let's see what it says here. It says, ex-college volleyball star whose dad was NFL All-Pro Al Toon is killed by husband in murder-suicide. Police have not discussed a possible motive for Sunday's violence. Well, I think I know the motive, but we'll see. Now, this was just a little bit over a month ago. This was in April of 2021. Now, this right here is Al Toon's daughter with her husband at the time, and her husband looked like one of those super sensitive, do anything for his wife type of husbands, you know, those spineless type dudes. And I'm not saying that you're spineless because you love your wife and you'll do anything for her. I'm saying that he looks spineless from the standpoint that he's one of those yes dear type people. Like he's going to treat her like a goddess, like she's above a human being. The love that he has for her is inordinate, or was inordinate, and that's why he ended up doing what he did. And so many females out here don't know what real love and what a real relationship is. They think that love is when a man calls them a goddess or a god, or, you know, will just be ready to sell their soul for the woman. But as we can see here, this is Al Toon, and this was her former husband, soon to be murderer. It says here, Molly Lillard, the 28-year-old daughter of former New York Jets wide receiver Al Toon, was shot to death over the weekend by her husband, who later took his own life with the same gun, according to authorities in Scottsdale, Arizona. Police confirmed that Lillard, who was a member of the University of Michigan women's volleyball team between 2010 and 2013, was killed shortly before 5 p.m. on Sunday, allegedly by her husband of 2 years, 36-year-old Royce Dale Lillard III. Officers received calls about a shooting in the home, according to a Scottsdale police statement, and arrived to find Molly in the front of the house, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Now that sounds like a crime of passion. When I hear about some woman getting shot multiple times by her man, that's a crime of passion. That tells me one or two things, brothers. Either homeboy found out that she was fucking somebody else, or he found out that the baby that she just had wasn't his. Either way, she was fucking somebody else. That's the only thing that would make a dude of his caliber do what he did in the way that he did it. Unless he's just paranoid schizophrenic. That's the only other option. Reading on, it says the new mom, who'd only given birth 8 months ago, was rushed to a hospital where she was pronounced dead. Now, we saw the photo of this person's husband. He looks like a regular frumpy, dumpy type so-called white boy. A lot of times these females, especially non-Caucasian women who have a white husband, they'll have a side dude who's a street dude, or a dude who has quote-unquote swag per se, because they got the frumpy, dumpy white boy at home who's paying all the bills and has her living in a nice house, but she got the side dude, Raheem, that she met at the gas station when she went to go pump her gas, and he told her that he could fill her up better than that damn gas can fill her car up, and she took him up on the offer. You understand? So there's no doubt in my mind something happened with this broad. Just reading on, it says, according to police, Lillard's husband barricaded himself inside the house, and for hours, officers tried making contact with him. At 11 p.m., they entered the residence and found him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yep, that's how many simps go out. When you see these dudes, what they call Captain Save-A-Holes or White Knights or simps, that's how a lot of these guys go out, man. Because when they find out that the woman don't really want them, or that everything that she told him was a lie, it's like to him, his whole life is a lie now. Where do I go from here? I actually gave my whole heart. When a simp says he gave his whole heart to someone, what he really means he gave his whole soul to someone. So now he's soulless. So due to the fact he has no soul, and the person who he gave his soul to doesn't want him, there's no need to live life any longer. And there's also no need for you to live your life any longer, because you got what's mine and I can't get it back. At least in his mind, he can't get it back. So that's why them simps do what they do. And that's why it's important that brothers out there who claim they want a wife understand the dangers. Because when the woman tells you that she loves you, what she really means is that we have a good time, we have fun, and you're the one fucking me right now. Like, you're the one taking me to the movies and out to eat right now. That's what the woman means for the most part. The modern day Babylonian woman, that's what she means when she says she loves you. It's not, men and women have two separate languages that they speak. Every once in a while, the languages intersect. But for the most part, the definitions of the words that we use and the concepts of terms are totally different. You understand? So like when a man says loyalty, even when a man is disloyal, but he knows what loyalty is, his definition is different from a woman. Same thing with love. So it's very obvious to me that he didn't quite grasp that, unfortunately for him. It says here at the bottom, the couple's child was present for the murder-suicide, but sustained no injuries. Once again, that's how you know that it was on the woman. That's why I stated this dude found out one of two things. Either that she was sleeping with somebody else, or that the child isn't his. But there was something involving her stepping out on him. No doubt about it. Reading on, it says, a motive for the murder-suicide has not been disclosed by police. Now, this right here is an example of racialism. They're trying to protect this dude's image even in death. You better believe, had that been a so-called black man, they would have presented the text messages and all that shit. Well, it's very obvious that Mr. Raheem Jenkins, who killed Miss Brittany Stewart, even though they were in an interracial relationship, they claimed to love one another, but what Mr. Jenkins found out is that Miss Stewart was sleeping with another gentleman, and he just clearly couldn't handle it. Look at these text messages. Let's read them at this press conference. They had to put all of Raheem Jenkins' business out in these streets, man. But when it comes to this dude, they hiding it. It says a motive for the murder-suicide has not been disclosed by police. A GoFundMe campaign has been launched online with all proceeds benefiting the couple's young son. So, we never really gonna know for sure. All we can do is speculate. But once again, Jonathan, these are some of the things that could transpire in a relationship in Babylon. Please keep that in mind. It's not to say that you're not going to get a great woman, a great Eve, a great wife, or what have you. But things can go left real quick. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports that Lillard was a 4-year letter winner for the Wolverines, earning honorable mention All-American honors from the American Volleyball Coaches Association as a senior in 2013. Lillard's father, Al Toon, age 57, spent his entire NFL career with the Jets, who selected him during the first round of the '85 draft. Yeah, he came out in the same draft with Jerry Rice. Toon played with the team until his retirement in 1992. Yeah, he had a very brief career. He retired due to concussions. I remember that very vividly. It says Toon played with the team until his retirement in 1992. He earned first-team All-Pro distinction in 1986 and received 3 Pro Bowl selections over his 8-year career. And kudos to him for retiring after just 8 years, when he recognized that if he kept playing, it was going to cause irreparable damage to his, to his later life. A lot of guys played through that shit on that machismo stuff and ended up blowing their own brains out, like Junior Seau, or at least in Junior Seau's case, shooting himself in the chest. Allegedly, he shot himself in the chest anyway. Reading on, it says, Toon is one of only 2 retired players in NFL history to play fewer than 110 games and still record over 500 receptions. That's interesting. I wonder who the other player is. Maybe Sterling Sharp. Don't know. One of you brothers find that out, you can let me know. But anyway, brothers, that's basically it on that when it comes to this introductory entry into the series, responding to your messages. Hopefully for the cat who asked me the question, Jonathan, I was able to shine some light on, an issue that you were having or what have you. So peace.